Tiffany.
Hi, it's Jose, GC Contractor.
We're with GC Contractor and we're installing a new roof today. We're going to take you through the steps you go through in order to properly install a roof the GC Contractor way. This is our drip edge. We're going to install this all around the entire perimeter of the roof, and that'll take care of the gap between the fascia board and the shingles themselves so that you don't get any water in anywhere. Your roof has to have ventilation because when moisture gets into your attic, it has to go somewhere when it evaporates. What usually happens is it goes right into the plywood, and then that's what makes your roof only last about 10 years. When you install something like a ridge vent, you take this off, and this is the best spot for the water to go because it's right at the highest point. We're going to put in the ridge vent, which goes all the way down here, cover it up with some shingles so you have some gaps going all the way down the roof where the water can get out. Protect your plywood from water damage. For the ridge vent, we're going to cut 1.5 inches from the ridge on either side. Cut the whole thing out and install our ridge vent over it. He's using this tool to mark where he's going to cut. It's going to take this whole little section off, and then we're going to install the ridge vent, which you'll see in a minute. In a house like this, you're going to get the most water accumulation right in here where it steps from siding to roof and goes from the second floor to the first. And as you can see, they had so much water accumulating here that everything is rotted underneath the shingles. So we're taking out all this plywood, has to go. Gonna replace it with new plywood, install some ice and water shield in the step here, about 6 to 8 inches up, so that no more water can get through down to the plywood anymore. Down in here we got all new plywood, and this here is the ice and water shield going all the way up there in this whole valley, even 6 inches up into the siding, so there's no way any more ice or water is going to get in here. It's a really sticky material, so it adheres to whatever you put on after you take that plastic off. It even kind of melts as the roof gets warmer so that it's permanent. And it has granules in it that stop formation of ice, keep you from getting other kinds of water damage. Up here we have our first row of shingles being installed, which is the most important because the way you cut the first one is 6 inches short, so that'll set the tone for the rest of the roof to be staggered rather than racked up and down. That'll give you a nasty look, and it makes it easier for water to get in between the shingles. The way that GC Contractor does it, staggered as you see him doing now, and that'll ensure that the water is never going in a straight line, always has to move around, making it a lot more difficult for any water to get in. Here's one of our shingles, and as I was saying, we take our first one, cut 6 inches off, and that goes in the corner. From that cut, that'll make everything staggered 6 inches if we put on a full shingle from then on. As you can see over here, it's like a staircase going down, so that way you don't have uniform lines going all the way down, and it helps the shingles to set better. And this is the GAF Timberline HD shingle, and it actually has this extra adhesive on it. The shingles themselves, they heat up and melt a little, but this especially, when it gets really hot, then your shingles actually set together and melt into one another. around this vent pipe. Again, so water doesn't get in. That aluminum will protect the base of the pipe from any water getting between the pipe and the roof. It's got some rubber along the top of the pipe collar, aluminum at the bottom. That way the rubber hugs the pipe tightly, nothing can get in. Chimney really needs some new flashing. You can get water down in there, which can come into your house and cause a big problem. So it's important when you get a new roof to make sure that they explain to you how they're going to fix the flashing on your chimney as the roof is installed, because they don't always do that. Here we're installing the chimney flashing. That's this aluminum that he's cutting to fit around the base of the chimney where it meets the house. Again, so you don't get any water intrusions coming between the roof and the chimney. So this is our finished product with the chimney flashing. First you have the step flashing, the aluminum underneath. Shingle goes on top of that. Ice and water shield is also sealing it. Then we take this layer, the black, to cover everything up, make it look pretty, seal it off with silicone so still nothing can get in it. And it's actually cut in here and pushed in. So there's no way any water is getting in there. Alright, as we talked about earlier, roof needs ventilation so that the moisture can get out and not ruin your plywood. Other companies will do something like that, where you just have a little square worth of ventilation to ventilate that entire roof, which isn't really going to work well, and it's kind of an eyesore to have a little square sticking out the top of your roof. This ridge vent, once it's finished, you won't even be able to see it, and it'll ventilate the whole roof from end to end. Alright, now our ventilation system is secured. You got to put a lot of nails in it because it has no weight to it, so it doesn't hold itself down. It doesn't melt and hold itself in place or anything, so you got to make it really secure, hold up against high winds, ice, rain, snow, everything. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our ridge caps right over it. Alright, so you notice how these shingles are still a little loose? You can lift them up a little bit. As it gets hotter, they're going to melt together. There'll be one thick sheet and there won't be any in between there. And you see, you can barely tell that the vent is in there, but this is all ventilated along the entire edge of the roof. And you can hardly tell the difference between where there is a vent and where there's not. Whereas with other ventilation systems, you can see them very obviously.